Welcome to another episode of Red Flag or Just Quirky podcast talk show, where we discuss all the fun and crazy topics that you love. Brought to you by WeRate.Stream. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Lena. Welcome back to the show. Today, we're tackling a behavior that everyone has encountered at some point. Someone who loves to micromanage the small stuff. You know the type. Every plan needs a checklist, every detail must be perfect, and there's a spreadsheet for your weekend that would make a librarian blush.
That's right. We're diving into the world of meticulous control, the urge to micromanage daily life. Is it a red flag that screams, run away, or a charming quirk that says, I care enough to organize the chaos? We'll get into it from both sides, sprinkle in some pop culture and a dash of expert opinion, and finish with a verdict you can take to heart, or at least to your next date night.
Now, let's lay out what we mean by this trait. A micromanager tends to map out plans in excruciating detail, wants to lock in restaurant reservations weeks ahead, emails a 5-step plan for a simple date, and places a premium on punctuality and precision. On the surface, it can feel helpful, even impressive. But the flip side is real. It can squash spontaneity, create pressure, and leave their partner feeling regulated rather than heard.
From my perspective, as a guy who believes in a little chaos now and then, that level of control often reads as a red flag. It's not just about the calendar, it's about autonomy. If one person can't make a simple choice without consulting a manual, it can whisper, I don't trust you to make decisions, and that's a recipe for resentment.
And yet, there's a different way to frame it. A lot of people who lean into planning do it because they want safety, reliability, and thoughtfulness. They're trying to avoid miscommunications, missed commitments, or weekend hungovers from chaotic plans. It can be a sign of responsibility or a superpower in a high-pressure career. The key question is always, is there space for your input, and is there respect for boundaries?
Let's anchor it with a pop culture lens. Monica Geller from Friends is the poster child for intense planning and spotless organization. Some would call her a control freak. Others would say she's the dependable rock in a crew that needs structure. The difference often comes down to collaboration. Does she invite others to co-create the plan, or does she push her version with little room for debate?
On the flip side, you can look at Tony Stark in his own way. He's a genius with a blueprint for every gadget, yet he still improvises in battles and improvises in life when it truly matters. The sweet spot is a planner who can also adapt. If the micromanager is willing to say, okay, we'll do it this way, but if you want to switch, we'll switch, that's a healthier balance.
To ground this in real psychology, we've got Dr. Priya Kapoor, a relationship psychologist, who notes that control can stem from a desire for predictability in an unpredictable world. The test, she says, is whether the person can read the room and switch gears when needed, and whether they invite a partner to shape the plan rather than prescribing it. That nuance is the difference between a constructive trait and a coercive one.
And then there's the expert twist from Dr. Marcus Reed, who reminds us that consistent, transparent communication can turn a potential red flag into a trusted habit. If someone explains why a plan is the way it is and asks for feedback, would you prefer a later dinner or a different restaurant? Here are 2 solid options. What do you think? That's not domination, that's collaboration.
Let's bring in a quick fictional anecdote. Picture a couple, the planner and the spontaneous one, navigating a simple movie night. The planner schedules a precise at-home cinema setup, projector alignment at 7:15, snacks pre-arranged at 7:30, a running commentary prepared for the intermission. The spontaneous partner just wants to press play and go with the vibe. The result? A gentle friction that turns into laughter once they agree to a pilot plan with built-in flexibility, a safe shared calendar with one flexible block each week.
See, that's the heart of it. It's not about banning planning, it's about balance. The planner can bring order to chaos, but they should also leave room for surprise, like a spontaneous trip to a dessert shop after a movie, or shifting a Saturday plan because a new exhibit opened up. If you can negotiate those spaces, it stops feeling like control and starts feeling like care.
Now, pop culture also provides some sharper contrasts. In The Office, Michael Scott's chaos often forces his team to improvise, which can be endearing in a I'll survive this train wreck with you way. But when Dwight Schrute steps in to micromanage every detail, even the color of the stapler, the vibe shifts from quirky to exhausting. The lesson? Intent matters. If the micromanager truly wants the team to succeed and values input, it can feel like leadership. If it's about winning the plan at all costs, it's a red flag.
And in relationships, you'll hear arguments like, I appreciate your planning because I know we won't miss anything, versus, your planning robs me of agency and makes me feel invisible. The difference is respect. When a partner's autonomy is honored, even meticulous planning can feel safe and supportive.
Let's talk about a practical test for listeners. If you're dating someone who leans heavily on plans, ask these questions. Do they revise plans with your input? Do they acknowledge your time and boundaries? Do they celebrate your spontaneity instead of labeling it as chaos? If the answers are mostly yes, you've got more of a quirk than a red flag. If the answers lean toward rigid control, you may be standing at the edge of a relational cliff.
Now, what about the reverse? What if you're the meticulous one and your partner is more laissez-faire? The dynamic can still be rich. The key is to cultivate a shared language. A control disclaimer can help. I tend to plan ahead. If you want to surprise me, give me a heads up so I can pivot. Or a planning partner who handles logistics while the other brings spontaneity.
Let's bring another expert voice in, Dr. Alina Reyes, a clinical psychologist who emphasizes consent in all choices. Consent isn't just about sexual boundaries, she says. It's about mutual agreement on decisions that affect both partners. A healthy relationship negotiates what gets planned, what stays flexible, and who gets input on the big stuff and the small stuff. That's the through line we want. Consent, communication, and collaboration.
And then, before we call this one a verdict, a quick nod to a popular fictional example that sits in the middle. In The Incredibles, Mr. Incredible is all about planning and making sure the family is safe. Miss Incredible shows that flexibility and adaptation are equally important. Their teamwork is what saves the day, because one partner plans and the other adapts. That's the blueprint for turning a potential red flag into a genuine strength.
So, what's the verdict for micromanagement as a trait? From my side, it's a cautious red flag in romantic life if it stifles your partner's autonomy or ignores boundaries. From Lena's side, it's a genuine quirk or strength when paired with reciprocal communication, consent, and room for spontaneity.
Agreed. The middle ground, church bell clarity as we like to call it, lets planning exist but doesn't own the couple. If you're the micromanager, practice saying, I have a plan, but I want your input and I'll adjust. If you're with a partner who has a more relaxed approach, advocate for shared decision-making and time for unstructured moments.
And if you're listening and thinking, that sounds doable, you're in luck. It's not about changing who you are, it's about negotiating how you do life together. The tools we've discussed, clear communication, mutual boundaries, and safe spaces for spontaneity, are the recipe for turning a potential red flag into a well-coordinated, healthy partnership.
So, final verdict. Micromanagement is a red flag when it erases consent and autonomy. It's a charming quirk when it's balanced with collaboration and respect for boundaries. The difference is intent, transparency, and flexibility.
Exactly. And as always, we love hearing from you. Share your stories of when planning helped and when it hurt, and tell us whether you think you've encountered this trait in yourself or others.
Before we sign off, we want to thank the experts we cited and the fictional companions who remind us of balance in every relationship.
That's all for today's ride through Red Flags and Quirks. Thank you for joining us on Red Flag or Just Quirky. We hope you enjoyed another one of our episodes. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And of course, leave a comment to tell us what you think. See you next time.